आपतामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् आर्तानामार्तिहन्तारं भीतानां भीतिनाशनं द्विषतां कालदण्डं तं रामचन्द्रं नमाम्यहम् सन्नद्धकवची खड्गी चापबाणधरो युवा गच्छन्ममाग्रतो नित्यं रामः पातु स लक्ष्मणः नमः कोदण्डहस्ताय सन्धिकृतशराय च खण्डिताखिलदैत्याय रामायापन्निवारिणे रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः अग्रदपृष्ठदश्चैव पार्श्वदश्च महाबलौ आकर्णपूर्णधन्वानौ रक्षेतां रामलक्ष्मणौ मङ्गलं कौसलेन्द्राय महनीयगुणाब्धये चक्रवर्ती तनूजाय सार्वभौमाय मङ्गलम्। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सतगुरु की जय, सतगुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। It has been a very long dream for me to speak on this illustrious literature, Ramacharitmanas. Charita and Charitra known and the same. And in that dream, long dream, I suddenly woke up now, thinking that let me make it as a reality. This Ramacharitmanas is also known as Tulasidas Ramayana. It is interesting. Last class when we had in Bhagavad Gita, we had, before we broke for this summer, so I announced that we are going to have this as a text, Tulsi Ramayana. Somebody went to the bookshop. Amaji is going to take Tulsi Ramayana. Do you have the book? Somebody in the bookshop, I don't know who, he said, he or she said, no, we have only Ramacharitmanas. No, we want Tulsi Ramayana. Please understand one and the same. So, Valmiki Ramayana is known as Valmiki Ramayana because he is the first one. He is considered as the first Kavi of the world. Kujantam Rama Ramedi Maduram Maduraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmikir Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharinaha Shrunvan Rama Kathanadam Konayadi Parangatim Neppipan Satatam Rama Charitamrita Sagaram Atriptastam Munim Vande Pratyeta Samakalmasham Goshpati Kridavarashim Mashaki Kridarakshasam Ramayana Mahamala Ratnam Vande Nilatmajam. We have great praise of Valmiki as the Purva Kavi. Inspiration from that very story is unending. As Guruji writes in his commentary on this, Tulsi Ramayana also, so many times it has been aired in the TV or it has been telecast. And every time it has a maximum viewership. Interesting thing is everybody knows the story. Is there anybody who does not know what Ramayana is? Then I'll have a special session for them. Once our Guruji was giving a lecture on Ramayana for 1 week. At the end of it, one person came up and asked, I have only one question out of this. Whatever you taught so far. Yes, what is it? In this story, who is the Rakshasa? Rama or Ravana? So Guruji, in his usual inimitable style, he said, neither Rama nor Ravana. Then me. Because in spite of me speaking to you one whole week, if you didn't understand, I must be that Rakshasa. So as we saw in the last session, in the introduction, Tulsi Ramayana is more known because of its simplicity. Keeping bhakti as the predominant message, even though Tulsi Ramayana is saying the same story only, but in such a way that it would create so much of love for God. The main purpose is that. While Valmiki Ramayana is itihasa. Itihasa means as it was happening, it has been narrated. Again, Guruji, one occasion he said, you know, when we have plans for the future, all of us have plans for the future. And somebody asked, when does actually Bhagavan laugh? When you tell him about your future plans. As though you are going to be there forever. And you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. That is when Bhagavan laughs. You know. That is called itihasa. He laughed. Listening to your future stories. No, but that's not the meaning of itihasa. In Sanskrit, itihasa means thus he laughed. Itihasa means iti aha asau. This is how it was. So Mahabharata and Ramayana are known as itihasas because these narrate exactly what happened there at that time without adding any colors to it. The author did not color the vision, color the story. Interestingly, when somebody tells you something and you start telling the same thing to the next person, you always add some masala to it. Garam masala. Then that person tells the third person, more masala added. So finally it reaches the 10th person, who is actually the one who said first. He said, this is the same thing which I told. It doesn't look like. So what Valmiki wrote was actual narration of the story. 24,000 verses. I have been doing it for once a month, 5 days. I think we started 2012 or somewhere like that. It's not yet complete. It's 12 years now. I think maybe we finished around, out of 24,000, around 15,000 probably. Another 10 years to go. I am keeping it so that I will be alive until then. I don't know how long this will go on. So, Tulsi Ramayana highlights bhakti. Adhyatma Ramayana is another one said to have been composed by Vyasa himself. Interesting. Which highlights jnanam, knowledge, full of Vedanta. Everybody knows Brahman. It is such an interesting narration of the same story with highlight on jnanam, moksha. Tulsi Ramayana is considered to be a Veda itself. For most people in the north, they may not know Rig, Yajur, Sama and Atharva Veda, but they know Tulsi Ramayana. Many times when I had been to Trinidad, in Caribbean islands, many of the residents, Indian diaspora, they are from heartland of Bharat. They have settled there over 200 years back, and they maintain the culture of reciting Tulsi Ramayana by heart. And they quote from Tulsi Ramayana more than anything else. Because that has been the tradition 200, 300 years back. People know all the verses in memory. So that much it has penetrated into the life of people. So whenever I had been to Trinidad, we have our own Chinmaya mission there. Swami Prakashananda is there, my Guru Bhai. And his passion is Tulsi Ramayana. And he recently concluded last year 100 Tulsi Ramayana stories in 100 days, 100 Tulsi Ramayana lectures in 100 days. And he does that, 108 like that, going to different places. So the tradition of reading, memorizing, chanting, reciting, singing has been there. And it is always a great delight to tell the story of the Lord. And it is often a custom in India, or not a custom, it's a habit. When somebody tells about his or her own problem, what do they say? Shuru Yauska Ramayana. So, don't think Ramayana means something wrong, something, a sorrowful situation. No, it is not. It's an elaboration. The story is elaborately discussed. So when it comes to the text proper, we will have Mangala Shlokas or Mangalacharan, it's called. Bhagavan, Tulasidas ji here, Goswami, we fondly call him as Goswami. I don't need to say Goswami Tulasidas ji. Goswami means Tulasidas ji only. He had great familiarity with not only the Audi language in which he had composed this, but also Sanskrit. So every khanda, it starts with certain verses in Sanskrit. So we will see that also in detail. Now, we must definitely respect people who have wisdom. In the tradition, whoever is older than us, we respect them for their experience, for their guidance, irrespective of who they are and what they have done. But really the one who is actually worthy of respect is the one who has love for God. Bhakti, if one has, it is the greatest gift. Because it is not acquired through reading. It cannot be developed by merely reading some books or imitating somebody or becoming a scholarly person. The devotion is a very divine emotion. We all have love. We have love for many things, for our own kith and kin, dog, cat. even car, mobile phone. But not in the same way as we cannot compare one love with another one. You cannot say, I love my dog as much as I love my wife, somebody says. And really offending it is. Or you cannot say, I love my car as much as I love my brother. They have different degrees. But love for God supersedes everything. Parama prema rupa. Bhakti is parama prema rupa, supreme love. And to cultivate that, we need Bhagavan's grace. Not by our own intellectual thinking. It is not just an emotional outburst. It is the feeling oneness with the Bhagavan who is residing in everyone's heart. So, one who is worthy of respect in our life is, really speaking, one who has true devotion to Bhagavan. This is the first thing we should understand. Why it is important is, Bhagavan's love for God, bhakti, is impersonal. Every other love is, every love that we have about things and beings, we have something to ask for. If that person or a thing does not give what we want, we somehow lose interest. That's what it is said in the introduction, unconditional love. No conditions. And that unconditional love towards Lord happens only when we realize that He has unconditional love for us. No fringe attached. Nothing demanded from us. When we come to see this clearly, how the Lord is unconditionally loving every creation, everything that is created, then only we recognize that we actually are recipients of this constantly. We often turn away from God because of tragedies and some things which are, unexpected things happen in our life. But when we open up our mind and clearly see it, it was necessary. That particular situation was necessary for us to grow. Only after some time we realize, if that had not happened, I would not have grown. To become more mature, to become more patient, more steadfast. Look at Sri Rama's life itself, you will realize how much of a struggle he had to go through. Yet, he never left his dedication to the truth. Dedication to what he has decided to achieve. So this is the first thing, and that's why the unconditional love, when we develop for Bhagavan, like Hanumanji did, we start to develop the same unconditional love for all living beings in this world. There is no magic here. That's why Bhagavan said in Gita, Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha. What is the first qualification of my devotee? One who has no hatred towards anyone. Adveshta sarvabhutanam. So we may call ourselves a devotee of the Lord, but find out whether you have that first qualification. Do you hate anybody in this world? Disqualified. So, Abhijit, that is a too hard requirement. It is. Bhagavan wants the best only, really speaking. Now, how do we express unconditional love? Gurudev said very clearly, you can never love someone without giving. And you can never give without loving. Think. Giving or sharing is not a compulsion. Sharing is not a requirement, a duty, an obligation. When you give it to your own family members also, it is duty, you can call. Or you may say it is out of my attachment to that person. But sharing with the community, the people, to everyone, that requires love for Bhagavan. Even in our human relationship, we cannot give to someone without caring for that person, without having that person in mind. So you can never give without love, and you cannot love without actually giving. So it is said, three things are important in our life, as Guruji points out in his message also. Bhakti, Seva, Tata, Tyaga. When the bhakti is there, Seva naturally happens. When love is there, devotion for the Lord is there, serving the Lord or serving the community or serving the people who need naturally happens. And serving here does not mean merely giving money or some material things. Sacrifice. I am ready to let go certain things for one whom I love. That is true seva. True seva is in sacrifice. And as we grow in our spiritual life, as we see, ever ready to fight against low tendencies and false values. This is what we have to sacrifice. The lowering tendencies, attachments, etc., and false values, pretentiously good, these are the things to be sacrificed. Be good, don't pretend to be good. Be loving, don't pretend to love. You can pretend to be angry. When your child is doing some mistake, you may be pretend to angry, but don't get angry. Anger alone can really make that person all right, then pretend. But when it comes to these positive values, don't pretend. Be truthful there. So this is true sacrifice. Bhakti, Seva, Tata, Tyaga. Now, having understood that one who has true love for the Lord is worthy of worship, Guruji, our Swami Tejamananda, who is also so well versed in Tulsi Ramayana, and he actually inspired me. Whenever I went to him, I always asked him, should I? He said, become more mature. because he knows it is not just an intellectual thing. It is not just giving a lecture on some philosophical concept. It requires heart, and that needs to be mature. So I think with this in mind, saluting him profusely, we start there. He had given a beautiful invocation that you can see that. You can, and I have recorded the harmonium sound here, so I will play that. Sri Rama Nama Sri Sangana. One minute. Wait. Where is that? Nama Shri Tulasidas Sadvarishtaya Dhimate Puritam Hridayam Yena Rama Premamritena Me Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Tujanakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. Here, first of all, I salute Namaha Sri Tulasidas. And who is here? It is calling out, hey Tulasidas, Dhimate, one who is the best of the intellect, Buddhi. Dhimat, one who has Dhi. Dhi means Buddhi tata Viveka. Not Dhirata, not the physical strength, Buddhi. Dhimate and hey Tulasidas, Namaha, salutation. And to whom is that? Sadvarishtaya. Among the people who are walking the path of truth, you are the best. Satpurusheshu varishtaha tvam. You are the best among the people who are walking the path of truth. Sadvarishtaya dhimate. Yena Rama prema amritena me hridayam puritam. When I think of Tulsidas ji Goswami, my heart is filled. By what? By Rama Prema Amrutena Me Hridayam Puritam. What he is giving us through this text is Rama Prema Amrutam. The nectar called the love for God. See, even as we are eating food in a hotel or in a restaurant versus eating the food, same food in a house, in a home atmosphere is different, because the person who is giving that food or serving the food does it with great love. Even if it is not the menu of things, even if it is only 2 items, you love it because it is given out of love, serving with love. Whereas you eat the same thing in a place where it is offered to you because it is like a business transaction. You pay and then this is food. You don't feel that same way. In the same way, when we read the Charitra of Rama, with an intellectual understanding, when you read, you can read that also. But when it is narrated by one who has love for God, you will unendingly you can listen. Atrittam. Atrittam means there is no tripti at all. One whose heart never gets content. Give me more, give me more. And that is actually Amritam. Atriptam eva Amritam. Amritam is not immortal, nectar and whatever be the name you give. But real Amritam is that which will never make you satisfied. Give more, give more, give more. That is Amritam. Premamritena me manaha me hridayam puritam. And how it is portrayed, again, saluting Sri Rama. Dakshine Lakshmano yasya. जिसका मन में लक्ष्य है वो लक्ष्मण होगा. हाँ, लक्ष्य means target or a particular point to reach. What was the purpose of Lakshmana's life? Tell me. Did he have his personal goal at all? Every character is so beautifully portrayed there. He did not have any of his personal goal at all. In fact, he left his family and then be with him. So Lakshmana means one who has Lakshana. Not physical Lakshana, but character, virtues. Ever ready to fight. Ever ready to protect. Ever ready to serve. That is the reason why when Lakshmana was wounded and unconscious at the battlefield, and Rama was inconsolably crying, and he said, he made a statement, in Valmiki Ramayana it is there, I can even marry somebody, but I never get a brother like you. That much he goes into. I cannot have a brother like you. I cannot get. That much love he had. And equally was the love Lakshmana had. So, Dakshine Lakshmano yasya vame tujjanakatmaja. And on his left is Janakatmaja. Janakatmaja. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं, don't split it like that. Janaka Atmaja, Atmanaj Jata. by Janaka, I was born out of Janaka. Janaka Atmaja, Sita is Vame. Purato Marutiryasya. In the front, Maruti. On the right side, it was Lakshmana. On the left side, it was Sita. And in the front, it was Maruti, Hanuman. Interesting is this, one who is ready to give life for him, Lakshmana. One who is constantly thinking, Avyabhicharini Bhakti, Sita. And one who is the messenger of the Lord, who is carrying his message, Chiranjeevi, that was Hanumanji. So all the three accompanying him, Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vami Janakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. So this we will chant every time when we begin this. Once more we chant the same verse here. Namah Shri Tulasidas Sadvarishtaya Dhimate Puritam Hridayam Yena Rama Premamritena Me Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vami Tu Janakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. Now, the text begins with, as I said, Mangalacharan. This Mangalacharana begins as a Sanskrit set of verses composed in Sanskrit. Why Mangalacharan? In the Hindu tradition, anything you start, you must invoke Bhagavan's grace for it to become auspicious. Mainly to complete whatever is aimed to be completed without any obstacle. That's the idea. That is actually the purpose of this Mangalacharan. It is said, Mangalam Nirvignena Samapti Artham. Nirvignena Samapti Artham. For it to complete without any obstacle. So for which we do the prayer, invoke the Lord. And as I said, in every khanda there is a Mangalacharan. So here it begins with invocation of Bhagavan Ganesha. And we will start with that here. That is verse number 1. I think it is already there. I will chant once and you can repeat that. Varnanam artha sanganam rasanam chandasamapi mangalanam cha kartaro vande vani vinayakau. In Sanskrit, as in any other language, there are letters They are called as varna. One meaning of varna is color also. But here it has to mean the letters, and these letters together constitute word. So varna becomes a particular formation, and as it's called a word, a pada. And that pada will have artham, meaning. It is said there are two kinds of meaning in any word. One is called direct meaning and the indirect meaning. One is called vachyartha and another is lakshyartha. So when it is a word is said or a statement is made, you can understand it as it is. Sometimes they say read in between. What is said in between you have to read. So वर्णानाम अर्थ संगानाम, उसको अर्थ को जोड़ना है. So a letter becoming a word and the word having a particular meaning. And these words are used by everybody, but the way the poets use it, it's to invoke certain rasas in our heart, certain emotions, certain feelings. How they do it is so beautiful because that is the difference between a prose and a poetry. Right? A prose is also a set of words only, poetry is also a set of words only. But the way they present it creates a certain amount of feelings and emotions in our heart. And to make that happen beautifully in the heart of the reader, we need Bhagavan's grace. Varnanam arthasanganam rasanam. It is there are navarasas, 9 forms of rasas. Swamiji, I know only Mysore rasa. No. Even there, different rasas are there. Tomato rasam, lemon rasam is there. So there are many rasas are there. It is said here that the Shringara, Hasya, Karuna, Raudra, Veera, Bhayanaka, Bibhatsa, Adbhuta, Sanyocha, Idi Ashto, Natya, Rasamrita. Ashtarasas are given here in the Natya Shastra. Shringara, beauty. Hasya, smile or comedy. Karuna, compassion. Raudra, anger, rage. Veera, strength. Bhayanaka, causes fear. Bibhatsa, terrifying. Adbhuta, wonder. Sanyau cha iti ashto natye rasamritaha. It is said that these are all the various rasas. In this Tulsi Ramayana, you will find varieties of such emotions and feelings are brought in. After all, during those times, they did not have any video or anything everything has to be imagined by the reader. Even in Valmiki Ramayana, the way he would describe the things, you will travel with that person, with the poet, and create in your own mind the entire visualization. In the same way here, Tulasidas ji is trying to create love for the Lord in the heart of every reader by bringing out the beauty of the Lord as well as the situation. And in such a way that the person who is reading will have the expected rasa. So that is why for that purpose chandas is used. There are various chandas. Chandas means meter. As you probably know, the first meter was created by, which is known as Anushtup Chandas. It was done by Valmiki. When he first let out his curse on that hunter who actually killed one of the crauncha birds. The two birds were there, and both of them were in great love for each other and looking at each other with so much of passion. At that time, the hunter took his bow and arrow and killed the male bird. It fell dead, and the female one truly, unconsolably cried and lamented. Looking at that, Valmiki, who was there at that scene, let out a curse saying that, you killed one of this and see the plight of the other, and you will suffer the same thing. I curse you. So, this very thing, the disturbance that caused by the situation, with that he came back to the ashrama and he could not stop his mind thinking about it. And he did not know what to do at this point. At that time, Brahmaji came to him. Naraji came actually and said that this is, I understand, invoke Brahmaji. So Brahmaji appeared, and then he said that this emotion that you have, because of which you let out a beautiful composition made in Anushtup Chandas, can you do the entire story of Rama in the same Anushtup Chandas? So he said, I don't know about who this Rama is. He said, Brahmaji gave that blessing to him, you will relive the entire Ramacharitram in your mind. And then you will compose the whole thing. So it was actually what has already happened. Valmiki ji became a participant in the story, watching everything that is happening there. And that's how he composed the entire Valmiki Ramayana. So the first Kavi, Purva Kavi, he started the Chandas, the Anushtup Chandas. And in this, what we see here, that various Chandasas are used, and the poetic skills of Tulsi Ramayana, Tulasidas is seen here, who is bringing out required emotion through the poetic meters. So that is why Varnanam Arthasanganam Rasanam Chandasamapi. And finally, to make it auspicious, Mangalanam Chakartaro. Two of the deities are invoked here. The one who is the ruler of the letters and the one who is the ruler of knowledge. Who are those? Vande Vani Vinayako. Vani is considered as the deity of knowledge, Saraswati. And she is also known as Shukla Varna. She is also known as Pustakadharini, Rupavati, Shrutirani. Various names are there. Yaya Deve Pujya Bhavaha Jayate. The worship of Vani is one, worship of Saraswati, Yaya, Deve, whichever be the deity you worship, Pujya Bhavaha Jayate. Because of whose grace, any deity that you worship, with the blessing of Saraswati, you feel that whatever be the deity you are worshipping, you feel like having a great reverence to that. Because she is a Shrutivani. She is the one who brought the entire literature of Vedas and other things which came out of the mouth of Brahma. She is the one who actually made it into available to all of us. It was listened by the rishis as she started to sing those things. It is said whatever was coming out of the mukha of Brahma, she started using her veena and started to sing about it, and that was heard by the rishis. And that is how it has come to us as Shruti, Shrutivani, Shrutirani also. So that Vani, Saraswati, we invoke for her to create Mangalam out of this, all this, and then Vinayaka. Vinayaka means Vinayaka, one who has no other person above him. Uska nayak koi nahi hai. He also known as Vigna Nayaka. So Vinayaka means Vignanayaka. Vignanayaka, you know, he is Vignakarta also, Vignaharta also. He can create trouble also and he can remove the trouble also, both. And that is why it is very important, the way you approach the Lord is very important. If you don't do it the right way, he will Vignakarta, Vignaharta, both. So it is said that Siddhyati sarva karyani tvat prasadat ganadipa ye bhajanti cha tvam devam tesham vignam na vindate. So sarva karmani karyani siddhyati. Siddhyanti sarva karyani. Because of you, all things can be accomplished. Tvat prasadat ganadipa. By your grace, O Bhagavan Ganesha, ye bhajanti tvam devam. Those who are worshippers of you, tesham vignam na vindate. Or vignam na vidyate. For them there is no real vigna. There is no obstacle here. Having said this, now Mangalanam chakartaro vande vani vinayako. Now next verse here. Having saluted Vani, an interesting thing is why Vani, first of all, Vinayaka, Vani, both of them are equally important. One scholar wrote beautifully, Vani pehle और विनायक बाद में. क्यों? He said Vani Bhakti. First is Bhakti, and then only out of Bhakti you have the ability to compose anything. So that is, first is Vani is worshipped, who creates the Bhakti rasa in your heart. And then based upon that love for the Lord, then the composition or in creation starts. Bhagavan created this universe out of love only. He did not create out of anger. So when we see things are happening in this world, it is actually his love for the love world he created, so that creation is coming out of. It is Upanishad also says very clearly, Bahusyam praja yeti satapo tapyata satapastaptva idakam sarvam asrajata. May I become many. That's how the Lord created. Is it not true that we want to see ourselves every time, every day? At least 25 times. So even when we look at our own children, if they look like us, my son, see, exactly like me. I asked somebody, 2 weeks back, so your daughter look like you? Yes, because she's like you. She's liking you. That's why she looks like you. And somebody, say, this is your daughter. It shouldn't look like you because she doesn't like me. Anyway, see, we would like to see ourselves in various manifestations. So if somebody looks like you, would you not like that person? You look like me only. We get a greater affinity. So here, Bhagavan created this universe as his own extension. Bahusyam prajayeti. So out of love, the creation comes out of love. So similarly here, Vani is the bhakti, devotion to the Lord, and then the composition, and according to that, according to what? Letter becoming, that is, Varna become Shabda, and Shabda becomes Vak, and the Vak becomes Artha, and Artha will have Rasa, and Rasa will have Chandas. In this way, it is beautifully Varna, Artha, Rasa, and Chandas. Varnanam, Artha, Sanganam, Rasanam, Chandasam api. Now, having saluted Vani and Vinayaka, the next one, here he invokes who? Bhavani Shankarau Vande Shraddha Vishwasarupinam Yabhyam Vinana Pashyanti Siddha Swantastamishwaram. One day I salute Bhavani Shankarau. Bhavani, that is Parvati, Parvata Putri. She is also known as Haimavati, Himavat Putri, Himavat Duhita. Duhita means daughter. So she was none other than the daughter of Parvata, or otherwise known as the Himavat Putri, Himavan Putri. And Bhavani and Shankara. Bhavani Shankarau Vande. Sham karoti iti Shankaraha. Sham means peace. The word Shanti also came from that. Sham, Shanti. Sham actually is the Bija mantra of Bhagavan Shiva. And that is, when you say Sham, it is peace, quietude. And Sham karoti, one who brings peace to the mind, is Shankara. Samshaya Nashanat Sham karoti. He the one who, when do we have our minds disturbed? When you have doubt. Right? I have a doubt. I am uncertain. I am not clear. I am confused. My mind cannot be quiet. So when is the mind quiet? When your mind is free of all doubts. When you are in the company of a person about whom you have no doubt, or you have no unhappiness or unpleasantness, with that person around, you just... Swamiji, I never found anybody like that in my life, except my dog. Some people have the company of the dog than anything else. I mean, it is very rare indeed in our life to find someone who has no doubt about us and we have no doubt about that person. In other words, one who does not judge us. Is not that person who never judges in spite of whoever we are, in whose company, especially mother. Whatever it is, after all, my creation, what else I can say? In her presence, quiet. Peacefully you can stay. Sham. So Bhagavan is one who is creator of such intense peace in our heart. So it is interesting here, Bhavani Shankarau Vande, and immediately says Shraddha Vishwasa Rupino. In the form of Shraddha and Vishwas. It is interesting to see Shraddha Vishwasarupino Shankaro Bhavani Shankaro Vande, or Bhavani Shankaro Shraddha Vishwasarupino Vande. Both ways. Meaning, if Shraddha, faith, and Vishwasa have their trust, if they have to take a form, they are Bhavani and Shankara. Or Bhavani and Shankara, if they want to take a form in our heart, is in the form of Shraddha and Vishwas. Faith is about the unknown, and Vishwas is about what is experienced positively by us, and therefore we come to believe it fully. That is called Vishwas. And the word Vishwas also, I have explained to you before also. When you are all breathing, anybody who is not? That is called Shwasa. Correct? Shwas means what? Breathing. When you breathe out, do you have any doubt you will breathe back? Do you have? I have exhaled. I don't know whether I will inhale or not. You have no doubt, because you have been doing it from the time you are born. Of course, when you are going towards the end, you will have a doubt. Last breath. After that, there is nothing. So you are sure that once you have exhaled, you will definitely inhale. That is called Vishwas. Out of what you have that? Because it has been there for me for a long time. I can never doubt it. That is called Vishwas. Trust. Whereas Shraddha is about something which I don't know. And that's why Shraddha, faith, you need Praman. Praman means what? A means to know, and that means to know must be something on which I have total conviction. So when somebody on the stranger comes and tells you something, will you believe that person? You don't. Even the unknown thing, if the person says, even if it is true, you will not believe. That's why we also have favorite channels to watch. We won't watch all the news channels. This, I think, is worthy of watching that. Right? So you are not in the situation, but somebody is showing that situation. It can be made up in the studio itself. So Shraddha is Ajnata Vastu Vishaye. About unknown things, you must have the complete faith in the means of that knowledge. That's why Pramana Shraddha is important. Guru is also one who gives the knowledge which you do not know, but you have to believe in completely. That trust. That's why it's said by one Shankaracharya says, Shastreshu Guru Vakyeshu Satya Buddhi Avadharana Shraddha. Shastreshu in the scriptures and Guru Vakyeshu in the words of the Guru, Satyam Idi Buddhi. This is true. Tadeva Shraddha. Sa eva Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Faith, complete belief in the words of the scriptures and the Guru. Interesting thing is, why Guruji writes in his commentary saying that I have read so many reasons and why Bhavani is called is equated to Shraddha and Shankara is equated to Vishwasa. The simple thing is, Bhavani is feminine, Shraddha is feminine. Vishwasa is masculine, Shankara is masculine. Simple, straightforward. Shraddha, that is Parvati or Bhavani, and Vishwasa, that is Shankara. But as I was going through, reading through, Parvati, she had born as Parvata Putri. And as she came of age, parents started to, nowadays, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? So Naradji came and he said to her and to the parents also, you don't know about your daughter. She is none other than, Parvati is none other than Dakshayani, the consort of Bhagavan Shiva. So therefore, she had to meditate upon Shiva, who alone would be her husband. Then when it was told to her, she took it to heart without any doubt. I will then only meditate upon Bhagavan Shiva, nobody else. And she went into intense tapas. Intense tapas in the sense that because Bhagavan Shiva does not easily, he can be easily pleased, but he will not easily appear in front of people. You need to have, that's why Kailash, you really want to go, you have to go. Most of the places where Bhagavan Shiva actually inaccessible places only. You have to really struggle to go. He wants tapas. So he said, Naradi said, you have to go for intense tapas. So she started to reduce her food slowly, eating once a day, dieting. And then afterwards, only few, salads, then only leaf. And even that water also, and then even leaf she gave up. That's called aparna. Aparna means what? Not even leaf she was taking. So that much of intense tapas. When she was doing this, And to whom? Towards Shiva. And then what happened? Next week only I can tell you. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhat bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.